that's sitting on my shoulder. That is an actual celebrity rat. Does anybody here follow the webcomic Doc Rat? Oh, I love all that. Doc Rat, out of Australia. Doc Rat is a webcomic that is drawn by an actual physician in Australia, Dr. Jenner. Great name for a physician. It is the story of an anthropomorphic rat who is a doctor in Australia, and the foibles that he has to deal with all his patients. I highly recommend it. Well, I was a guest down at MFF, which is the Australian Furry Convention, or the biggest Australian Furry Convention. I understand there's two now. But he gave this to me, and I was like, dude, that's a celebrity rat. I gotta keep it. I later found out they like give these away at IKEA if you buy a cheap coffee table. What the hell? Right? I do like MFF. Some of you might have seen Big Blue Fox wandering around here too. He's the German cameraman with the big blue camera. But he was guest of honor down there. I do love BBF. There's a story that I told a couple years ago, and I promised him I would never tell it again. But I lied. Because the thing is, I am what they call a raconteur. That is a storyteller, also known as a bullshitter. That's not true, because all of my stories are true. Everything that I tell you has happened to me, and I've got witnesses who can prove it. Big Blue Fox is, of course, a professional cameraman for a German television station. That's why he's got that big camera rig he's showing around here. Well, a number of years ago, there was a bit of news footage that was being shown from Apricon, which is a little like fur meet that I run in Pittsburgh. Just like 5,000 or 6,000 people. Anyway, I was very, very nervous because the photographer who had shot that news video had been also taking pictures of things I really wished he hadn't been taking pictures of, if you know what I mean. And here, they're showing this video of me, and I'm sitting there chewing my nails to the entire thing. Now, one of the things about BBF that I totally adore is that he can put away 50 gallons of beer in an hour. And the man is like a beer black hole. It's astonishing. He's watching this, and whereas I'm waiting for the horror to happen, BBF is mostly upset because he didn't like the camera work. He's getting all professional, and he's sitting there, and he's sloshing beer all over this. Look at this! This is terrible. This is the worst piece of camera work I have ever seen. This man should be fired. The lighting, it's all flat, and the framing is wrong. He's cut off your entire foreskin. He said, oh, American. I said, I know, yeah, but it's so cute, you know. He speaks great English. Every once in a while he gets just the wrong word, but it's just the right one. He was a guest down at MFF in Australia the same year I got this little guy here. And lunchtime had come up. Neither one of us had anything to eat. So he came to me and he said, let's go get some lunch. Now, what do a German traveler and an American visiting Australia do for lunch? We go for pizza. Good old traditional Australian fare. We found us this lovely little cucina, a cute little Italian restaurant, and we're sitting and we're having a grand time talking, and of course BBF orders 50 gallons of beer, and he's happily drinking that. And the waitress came over, and she was ready to take order, and she came by and said, good afternoon, gentlemen. And I was like, no, it's okay. It's all been over 70 years. We're all friends now. What the hell was that all about? What could we do? The manager came running out. I'm like, turned out she did indeed have an absolutely morbid, paralyzing fear of Germans. many people here have been to a furry convention before? Oh, I love it. How many people here know what is meant by the phrase PCD? Post-con depression. It's what happens when the con is over. This incredible dream that we have created, this magnificent world that for this very few hours over this weekend we have made for ourselves comes to an end. It is time to wake up. It is time to return to the mundane world of reality. That's what I like to hear. Now, the thing is, I run a furry convention. I don't get PCD. I get PCR from Africa. Post-con relief. Usually when the con is over, I'm like, yay! Oh, I'm free for the next 5 minutes before I start planning next year, but I'm free for now. Something happened last year at Anthrocon that has never happened to me before. You see, there's a lot of stress running a convention. Just look at poor Duncan and Kage if you have any question about that. They all have con chair face. They kind of walk around like this. And we all do the same thing. I didn't realize this till I saw Tu doing it. He tried to run a con in LA and quickly gave it to somebody else. When you see any con chair at the con, they tend to do this. It's like, we all do it. It's like, you know, the number 4. You know, just like this. Like, if we stare long enough at the palm of our hand, we will fall into it and be protected and not have to deal with all of it. But this year at Anthrocon, something happened that never happened before. Everything went well. What? Everything worked. Which for me was the worst thing that could happen. Because I'm sitting there every 5 minutes shouting into my radio, what's going on? Is my radio broken? Why isn't anybody making any noise? Does anybody hear me? What's going on? And they're like, no, everything's fine, everything's under control, go back to what you're doing. What I was doing was panicking about what has been going wrong that hasn't been going wrong. What's going on? You ever seen in the movies, the guy in the jungles of Vietnam? He knows that the VC are out there and he's going to step on a tripwire at any moment. He's going to take a step and the punchy sticks covered with crap are going to come out and pierce through his heart. The sniper's going to shoot him in the old forehead. They've got him in their sights. They're just waiting. That was me. All weekend long. All weekend long. Like going through the con like this. And people are walking by me like, are you okay? Yes. I'm okay. I'm just fine. For now, was that a click? Because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm going to take a step. I'm gonna hit a bouncing Betty mine, and this drama grenade is gonna come out of the ground and explode in my face and go wah! But it didn't happen. Monday morning, what we like to call the morning after. As we were driving home, I was sort of like, wow, that actually was a lot of fun. And, you know, everybody had so much of a great time, and now it's all over, and it's like everything's all quiet now, and it's all sad and stuff. And people are saying, Kage, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I'm just, yeah, whatever. And all the next day, I'm going through the lost and found, all these personal treasures people lost, and it's like, no, this is all, this must be what PCD is like, you know? Even the next day at work, I went into work and I'm sitting in my chair at work. I'm like, oh, this was such a great weekend, and everything just seems so quiet. Then I got an email. It was from the lady at the convention center in Pittsburgh. And she said, "What do you want us to do with all this stuff?" Stuff? I have a logistics crew. Their job is to make sure there isn't any stuff. There's stuff. I forwarded the email to them with the header, "Stop!" I called up the convention center and said, "What exactly do you mean by stuff?" And she said, "Well, there's all these plastic totes with Anthracon stamped on them." You mean they're at the convention center, which is 300 miles away from me, who no longer has any volunteers because they've all gone home? I didn't feel PCD anymore. I found the cure. Now, these fine gentlemen actually made a special trip from Virginia to come up to Pennsylvania to go out with me and find out exactly what all this stuff was. So I definitely applaud them for that. They, of course, wanted to keep their jobs and their balls, but yes, I support them. Those of you who went to Anthracon this year might have noticed that I spent an inordinate amount of time sitting in a chair. Because when I look back at the videos of Anthracon, I'm always sitting down. I didn't realize that what was going on was quite so visible. There's also a couple of people I killed, and I, feel a little bad about that. But I was actually in a considerable amount of physical pain at Anthracon this year. Not just the mental anguish of the Viet Cong out there ready to shoot me, but actual physical pain. Because of something that happened back in late January of this year past. And this is the point where everybody says, "My, what could that have been?" And that's when I say, "Let me tell you a story." I would like to say that